Hello guys and welcome. It is I, Clarissa, and today I'm here to do a movie review. What movie is that? Don't forget to keep on watching this and pay attention to me because I'm going to tell you what movie am I going to review. So I'm going to review 5 Feet Apart. Yes, as you guys heard, 5 Feet Apart. The spectacular, phenomenal, and immaculate movie. But before we jump into it, I'm going to tell you guys all the things that you have to know before you watch the movie. The first thing is that you guys need to know this movie is an adaptation from a book that also called 5 Feet Apart, obviously. And the genre of this movie and book is romance, hospital life, and angst. If you guys don't know what angst is or angst, you guys can search it up on Google. But if you guys are too lazy to do that, don't worry guys, I'm here to do my work, which is I'm going to give you guys a brief elaboration of what angst is. So angst is basically a genre of a movie or a book that is sad, traumatic, tragic, and it gives you guys the feeling of worries and anxiety. So yeah, that's all what you guys need to know about this movie. So let's start to the review. So yeah, I'm going to introduce you guys to the main characters of this movie and of course their personalities. So starting off, we have Stella Grant. She's a teenager with cystic fibrosis who fell in love with Will Newman during one of her hospital stays. Stella is cautious, she's a rule-abiding and very organized. Meanwhile, we have Will Newman. He's a teenager that wants to live life fully rather than adhere to the rules and guidelines necessitated by his diagnosis of cystic fibrosis and Burkholderia capacia, if I'm not mistaken. Let's move on. Maybe some of you guys are wondering where this movie took place. What's the setting of this movie? So yeah, I'm going to tell you guys too about where the movie set and where it took place. So yeah, the setting of this movie is probably 2019 during March, and the movie take place in the hospital, St. Grace Hospital. So that's it about this setting, time, and place about the movie. And this is the part that you guys maybe have been waiting for it, which is I'm going to give you guys an explanation about the plot. It will contains a lot of spoiler, but don't worry guys, I'm not going to spoil you guys a lot. So yeah. So 5 Feet Apart chronicles the 2 weeks over which Stella Grant and Will Newman, they are both cystic fibrosis patients at St. Grace's Hospital, who fall in love amid a physical separation that doesn't allow them to touch one another. Imagine that you guys love someone but you guys cannot touch that person. It's kind of sad, right? Let's move on. Stella Grant, she sees the hospital as her second home that filled with childhood memories. Meanwhile, Will Newman, a new patient at St. Grace's Hospital, he has experienced a life in hospitals around the world under the controlling of his wealthy single mother. And yeah, a rule breaker will impatiently look forward to his 18th birthday as a beacon of uncharted independence, free from the tyranny of a monotonous hospital life. The night before Will's birthday, they both maintain 5 feet distance and disclose personal truths ranging from Will's father abandoning him to their views of the afterlife. So yeah, the date ends hours later after they receive a notice from Poe that Barb is searching for them, and they barely escape. So you guys are probably like, who's Poe? Who's Barb? Poe is Stella's best friend in the hospital because they both spent their whole life in the hospital. Of course, they know each other for that long. And Barb is Stella's nurse, so I kind of get it why Barb is very, very protective over Stella, because it's for the sake of her own good. So yeah, on Will's birthday, Will clashes with his mother and he alleges her that she has no idea about everything that Will feels. His mother leaves him in a bad state of mind and mentally unstable. He is instantly regret his allegation upon seeing his mother's attentive gift of an original cartoon print that he adores. He realizes that he has misapprehended his mother's care for him as control. So you guys, me as a teenager myself, we have a complicated thought, we have a complicated feelings, just like complicated in general, because we sometimes don't know what we feels, like we don't know what we want to. So yeah, we barely know what others want from us. So don't put a lot of like high expectation from us, because we always thought that we will disappoint you guys. So please do not put a lot of expectation from a teenager. We're still like finding our own identity. It's kind of like critical. So let's move on. Just as Stella is about to sleep, later that night, she hears alarms from Poe's room and discovers that he has stopped breathing. Okay, stop there. I'm just going to stop there. It's a lot of spoiler, okay? I'm not going to give you guys another spoiler. You guys have to watch it yourself. So let's just move on. Between book and movies, there's always differences. What is the differences that I found in the book and in the movie? First of all, in the book, it shows that Poe's parents were deported to Colombia, so he is completely alone in America, and that affects his treatment and temperament greatly. But in the movie, there's no information or backstory of Poe's point of view, which is kind of lame, because me myself as the watcher, I really want to know whose Poe's really are. I really want to know his backstory, but it's kind of lame that the director didn't put it there. So yeah. The second differences that I found is in the book, Stella's parents are on such bad terms that they can't even speak to one another, and Stella spends the majority of her time attempting to mediate them before they get a warning from Barb. But in the movie, Stella's parents are great. They both have nothing against each other, which is I prefer the movie, because just imagine you guys were Stella and you have to mediate them. Meanwhile, you are on your worst condition. It's kind of like, it doesn't make any sense. It's impossible. So the last differences that I found is that in the book, Stella's definitely controlling about her treatments and schedules, which doesn't really strange because her life depends on them, but never describes herself as clinically OCD as she does in the movie. So no comment, move on. What I like about the movie, if you guys are wondering. So the movie gives me butterflies whenever I'm watching it. Every time I see Will and Stella's hanging around together, I feel the excitement that they both feels in the scenes. And the movie doesn't seem so rushed, so it's just go with the flow and very natural. And the main characters have a spectacular chemistry, and they also have a very great bonding with each other. So the watchers can also feel the tension. But when it comes to set part, guys, they killing it. The main characters nailed the acting. They did it in a natural way so that the watchers can feel the gloomy air between them. I also want to mention that I very much enjoy the character improvement of both the main characters, which is Stella and Will. But what I like the most about is that they have a bit of a difference in the book and in the movies, so the watchers still have the opportunities to take a guessing game while they watch the movie. Move on. So what I dislike about the movie, for some reason I hate being left in a cliffhanger, and that's exactly what the movie did to me. Actually, I don't have any particular reason to dislike anything about this movie, but one thing for sure, we have our own ideal types for a movie, or maybe we put a bit of a high expectations for a movie, or we have our own preferences for a movie. But in this case, I want to tell you guys all of the weirdness that I might have found in this movie. 5 Feet Apart is a great movie, but the plot is kind of cliche. It's just a typical romance drama movie, and the genre is angst, like what I've explained to you guys earlier. And I dislike angst very, very much. That's why it kind of triggers me. But the movie itself is great, but the plot is so lame, but in a good way. Because like I hate crying too much, and that's what the movie did to me. It turns out that I hate it. I hate it because the movie ends, you know, like I want it to keep going forever so I don't have to feel the feeling of vacuity. And the last thing that I dislike about this movie is that the main characters, oops, spoiler alert, they both didn't end up together like they did in the book. They have to be separated for the sake of their own good, you know, their own healthiness. So let's just move on. So if we're talking about favorite part, I like each and every part of the movie, but my most favorite part of the movie is when Stella meets Will for the first time ever. They both seem confused with each other at first, but little did they know they will become very close with each other just in a short period of time. But the next one is that particular scene where Will and Stella kiss in the swimming pool. You know, I think I don't have to explain why that became my favorite part of the movie. So yeah, it comes to an end. I'm going to give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. Why? Because like what I said before, there are some parts where I kind of found it weird and awkward, but other than that, I like it. I recommend you to watch this movie when you are in a stable state of mind, because you will go crazy like I did when I watched this movie. And make sure that you are okay with an angst type of movie, because this movie surely gives a traumatic experience for some people who gets easily triggered by something that is mentioned in the movie. For example, death, blood, etc. This movie is a great movie and absolutely fantastic. It gives me enormous impact to my life just by simple things like being grateful for what I have, enjoying my life, loving someone who truly cares about me. But lastly, I want to put a big emphasis that this movie is just a fiction. Whatever you see in the movie doesn't apply in real life. So what's in the movie stays in the movie, and please be a wise watcher. That's it from me. I'm signing out. Bye bye. See you on my next review, I guess.